everybody, welcome back to Vlogmas. Today I am making a video I hoped I would never have to make, but we're going to be talking about hearing loss in the workplace. Now, this doesn't have to be a bad thing or a negative video by any means, unfortunately, though. I've had some bad experiences and I've only really had like one real job, so the future isn't looking that bright. But I wanted to give my tips and tricks, share some of my experiences with you because I think this could be a helpful video. So without further ado, give this a thumbs up, subscribe. I'm making videos every single day up until Christmas, and yeah, let's just get started. So having a disability shouldn't really be that big of a problem just because you're working, right? Well, it's definitely way harder, just like school, life, relationships, anything like that. A disability makes life harder for anything that you're gonna do, and that includes going into the workforce. I had my first real job this year. I am a resident assistant, otherwise known as an RA, on my campus. I love my job. I think it is absolutely great. I like that I get to work with people, that I live with my residents, and that it's a very people-oriented job. I really like that. I work sometimes 20 hours a week, so it is a job that I do a lot, especially considering that I am a full-time college student with a lot of extracurriculars. So that's a little background info. Life and working is already harder this year because of the pandemic, and if you're not working from home, then reading lips is kind of impossible because you have to interact with people. Obviously, when you're responding to situations as an RA, that can be really, really hard when you're trying to get people to pay attention or follow the rules and they are just not listening to you and you can't really understand what they're saying. So there's a little bit of a barrier there, and I used to be like, well, I'll just have to work through it. I'll just have to figure it out, I guess, but you need to ask for help. Like, I discovered the hard way that I had to ask for help, and I think that is the first thing, but it's just a really difficult kind of barrier of figuring out, like, when do I tell my employer that I need help because I don't want them to fire me or not hire me in the first place. I didn't want to say anything negative about my boss or anything. The first time I told him, it was the first week of training, and I pulled him aside and I was like, hey, I have hearing loss, I wear hearing aids, if I ignore you, I'm not ignoring you, I just can't hear you. And he was like, oh, okay, and he just kind of brushed it off, and I was like, well, wouldn't this be a bigger deal? I was just kind of baffled because he just kind of brushed it off, but that's fine. I guess he just never dealt with something like that before. For my job, we use walkie-talkies, and that's impossible. I can't hear a single freaking word coming out of that walkie-talkie. I have been alone on duty. Usually we have a partner, but because of some scheduling errors and quarantining and stuff and stuff like that, I have worked alone quite a few times, and I had to call the ARD on duty and tell them to call me or text me if there was a call on the walkie for me. And it's really hard when the fundamental principle and the basic way that people do your job is like non-functional for you. Obviously, I can't hear a single thing coming from the walkie, so that's hard. When I get a call, the ARD calls me and tells me what's going on, and I go deal with the situation. I don't find that I have a lot of hearing issues when I go deal with situations and talk to students and stuff like that, but that's obviously something that could be an issue. Thankfully, I usually have somebody with me on duty and to respond to things with. Something that I have learned is that if I'm uncomfortable or I feel like I just can't hear very well that day, I'll just call somebody else to come respond with me, so it just doesn't look like incompetency on my part. It's just finding ways to work around it where you can still be the best employee ever. It can be hard, especially when you hear of things like your boss making fun of you, which is something that I heard about a couple weeks ago. Somebody came up to me and told me that they heard my boss talking crap about me to another employee, and it wasn't crap about what I had done, it was making fun of my disability. And basically the gist of it was, oh, how is Shreya gonna respond to a noise complaint when she can't hear? Is she gonna tell them to be quieter? Which was just really like disgusting and distasteful, because we respond to noise complaints if we get calls from the walkie. Like, obviously we don't respond to things because we hear that they're loud, we respond to things because there's complaints about it. So to hear that my boss said that was like, I mean, I already don't like him that much for a lot of different reasons, like the fact that he never shows up on time for meetings and just a lot of things. Like, he's just not very good at his job, but it's fine. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. When his boss asked me how he was doing at his job, I completely covered for him and lied and said that he was amazing. So there we go. To hear that he was talking crap about me to another employee because of my disability, which is like distasteful. It was like kind of disgusting, but it made me lose all of my respect for him, so that is great. Anyways, that is beside the point. That is not helping you guys. I just wanted to share that things like that do happen. And it's not like school where you can go like tell on the person and everything will be better and they'll like be put in a timeout or something like that. This is like the real world, and crap does happen and people will make fun of you. Unfortunately, people suck. It's not just school bullied, it is your boss. You're gonna have bosses that are just straight up rude to you, but I'm telling you, don't back down. You gotta stick up for what you need because the world just doesn't like disabled people. You just gotta stand up for yourself just like it is in school and just quit, honestly, if it's really bad. Yeah, that's just one thing that I have learned, is that it's not any different now that you're entering the real world. Entering the real world and being employed and having a job is worse because people suck at all phases and at all ages in life. Just to go in to work with that mindset and let people know that you have a disability and all will be fine, but don't be embarrassed about it and don't try to hide it either, because if it actually is affecting the way that you do your job, then that's a problem if you haven't told your employer about it. Like, if you have a disability and you need something, you have to tell your employer, otherwise they won't know. So yeah, basically my biggest tip is to stand up for yourself. Don't let people bully you. Literally talk back and stand up for yourself, because that's it. Like, you are not a slave to your employer, so stick up for yourself. That's that. Hopefully other jobs I work are better. But yeah, I mean, I like my job, it's fine, but it's just taught me a lot about how to navigate working with a disability, and that people just think it's a joke when it's your real life. Let me know if you have any tips on this down below. This video was probably very chaotic and not helpful at all. It's just a rant for me to talk about my experiences, but hopefully you learned something from this. It's important to stay positive and keep smiling, because everything's good. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!